Welcome back everybody, DestinysJesus here. In this video I'm going to be VODing AQUA. He recently came back from a really big injury where he basically had to skip an entire FNCS because he got tendonitis in the wrist. So a lot of people are thinking he's going to be washed, he's not going to be performing too well, and he's actually gone ahead and formed a trio with CR and Vino. These guys really aren't too rated in terms of trios. They've both done pretty decently in the past, but playing with AQUA, they've absolutely popped off this past weekend in the FNCS Opens. They played Highground to near perfection. They absolutely dominated in the Opens, taking first place with like 200 plus points, which is the only team to get 200 plus points. They also had a pretty good run in the semi-finals. They got 35th, so they were very close to qualifying. But basically looking in this VOD review, how they played Highground so perfectly, everything that AQUA is doing to take, hold, and maintain Highground throughout the entirety of all the moving zones, and also how effective these guys are at W King. As you can see here, 35 kill win, 16 kill win, 19 kill win, and 11 kill win. Absolutely insane games with some really good pre-fight positioning and a bunch of things that you guys can learn from. Hope you enjoy. Boney, not too much going on here. I don't really know to rate Boney as a POI. We'll see what their loot is like leaving Boney. They go WQ Peasant, okay. Yeah, their metal's a little bit scuffed, but when they get good loot, right? Not as bad. Okay, team glides onto them. As they're scuffed, they get beam and stinkfish. Bro, stinkfish are so OP in fights, especially if you use them like tactically, you know, like right there, use them and then get on the wall and then you get a wall take, and it literally is free kill, right? Just because he uses the stinkfish properly. CR is gonna go ahead and hunt down this last one, Vino, I guess. Yeah, very nice. Cool, all three just pinch at the same time. I like how Vino waited there for his teammates to come, so he doesn't unnecessarily get knocked. It's really important in trios, like, you can obviously kill people very quickly with a pump, but you can also get killed very, very quickly as well if you make a mistake on your setup or anything. Oh, this is free. Yeah, ridiculously free. Triple AR Bream, that's like kind of good range for a primal as well, where it's still really effective. Good job not overcommitting there. You see how he caught on? He could have committed into that fight in a 1v1, but he knows, just because of the fact that Vino got this B and AQUA's come around the side, right? He knows he's better off just focusing and working with his teammates, right? You should never try, even if you can, you should never take a 1v1 when you can just help your teammates win their 1v1, you know, or just fight with them while they're spraying for you. Let's skip a little bit because they got center third, so they don't have to worry too much. Center third obviously pretty much guarantees that you can win in fourth zone as long as you're dead center. So they really don't need to move too much. And they also get height 50-50 relatively near. Let's see what they did for this height. Oh, okay, they just built over a little bit from top spire. Very nice. Having Stinkfish endgame as well. So they opt to use Pepper here on early zone. 2,600 above surge. Very nice. How are they getting down off this? AQUA? Okay, I was going to say, bro, the zip lines don't show up in replays, but that was nice. Really simple stuff. He also just immediately ramps up height with Pepper. Pepper height holds are really easy to do because you can get on top of front side very easily. So right there, you see what he did was he went down a layer basically to connect twice, and then he goes up a layer. A lot of teams would play off this high ground 2 layers above, like a very, very large amount of teams. But connecting 2 layers above and then going up another layer is probably better, just because it means teams can't really contest you and you're still connected, right? And it's not like you'll take full damage from three tiles. Zone pulls far, immediately gets front side, so he's got like a horizontal angle to hold back, potentially get a kill here. And a lot of times when you do these horizontal angles where you kind of drop and then go front, like, there'll just be somebody straggling behind a little bit. Okay, so again, connects 2 layers above. Yeah, like right there, like that's literally a free kill most of the time when you're on front side. Next again, bro. Bro, look at these height holds. Like, he's always doing this where he's going, he drops down a layer, connects 2, and then goes up. So he's always 3 layers off the second height team, which makes it impossible to reconnect height. AQUA's honestly been doing this, I think, since World Cup. Obviously there's more movement and stuff in the meta to take height with. But a lot of teams have kind of adapted to playing a lower high ground position, but he's still playing way higher up. Nice, gets a kill. Still a stinkfish as well. Doesn't really need to use stinkfish just yet. Like, you could use it to get a kill, but he's guaranteeing the win because obviously stinkfish prevent heal off, and they can also win you the heal off because they give you 15 white. Very nice. Nice, this should be really simple. I want to see if he lets his teammates drop or not. Does like CR drop for kills here, or do they all just keep spraying? No, they all just keep spraying. Gets a kill. Vino now starts dropping, kind of safely. Nice. Yeah, very nice. Doesn't commit for the loot there, that's good stuff. Drops a gas cannon. This is a ridiculously free game. I want to see what he does with Stinkfish. Probably denies heal off, right? Yeah, right here. Look how much damage he does. Immediately gets a kill with it as well and then forces it on out. Bro, I kind of feel bad for the kids on low ground when there's Stinkfish on high. Wow, okay. Bro, Stinkfish are ridiculously strong. So he used them early game in that kind of fight after they got the beam just to get the initial knock. And then he also used them again early game when he was fighting that guy. He just threw it on the guy's wall to get the kill, and then he saves the rest of them for endgame heal off. Nice split angle again. Okay, this is probably the biggest thing that I see most teams mess up on. When you want to fight a team, your prefab positioning is the biggest thing right here. So CR is going far right to get a flank. He could have got a bow headshot there as well, or like just a bow tag for a crack. And then these two guys are kind of coming on a different angle together. You can do a three-way pinch, right? So you'd have, let's say, CR coming over from this way. You can't see that at all. You'd have one player coming from the right side. You'd have one player coming from middle. And you'd have one player coming from the edge. That can be really effective, but oftentimes you might just have like 2 players or 3 players on that stroke jump on one of the guys when they're solo, right? Which can be a negative of that. If you have 1 player flanking and 2 players fighting, then these guys might assume that all 3 of the players are going to be coming from this direction at the same time, because that's where 2 of them are, and it's quite hard to tell, right? Oftentimes in mid-game fights. And then this last one, so CR in this case, is going to be able to do a lot of damage or just get like a huge amount of impact with a bow or with an AR or something, right? Yeah, literally what I just said, right? You can see how he's able to just get a flank angle. They assume that the whole trio is coming from that left-hand side, and he's able to come over here. Hopefully gets a bow headshot to emphasize my point. This kid stands still for a second. That's why bows are so good as well. Yeah, like, bro. Perfectly done. Perfect pre-fight setup. Gets a tag on the other one. Now all 3 of them push in. Vino takes high ground. AQUA goes and like confirms basically where the kill is. Also, a lot of the time, they're just fighting with ARs. They're not using pumps, especially when they're a little bit scuffed on HP. It goes down, but they get in all together there at the same time. Like, Vino was just trying to help out with an AR there, rather than committing in when he was low. Which is the correct play in that situation. And then CR kills the last one as well. Perfect prefab positioning, bro. A lot of the time was, yeah, that three-way split, right, which is what I was talking about, can work. But it can lead to one player getting jumped on, and then the flanks aren't as effective, because the guys will realise that they're coming from all directions and just box up. But the two-way, like the 2-1 split, is probably one of the better ones you can do. Obviously, you can only do it if you know you're going to fight and you know exactly where the team is. But still, you should always be trying to go for those flanks, which is what CR did there and it got them a knock. CRR is always the guy going for the flank, right? And then Vino and AQUA are kind of playing together. So you got like those guys going in together, taking the brute force of the fight. And then you can see that CR is able to get like an impactful knock just because, yeah, again, bro, literally the exact same thing. He just opens the fight just by going for a flank sideways, always getting a bow headshot mechanical, so that's 212. And then from here, this should be pretty simple. All they need to do is play the 2 through it correctly. So they wait for CR to come over, hopefully. Yeah, perfectly done. The other guys tried dipping. Nice angle. I think AQUA's going to overcommit in here. Yeah, AQUA overcommitted in there for a second, and then this guy gets the first. Should have waited a second while his teammates were low, but you kind of just assumed you could jump in. But still, all good. That fight was really clean. They can just go reboot and Pleasant since they cleared it. Ramps up on high ground. Realizes there's a team on edge, so that's very free to ramp because they're just kind of boxed off to off low ground. And they're getting a good position here. Need to be careful to get dropped. Well, the one thing whenever you do those ramp plays is you need to be careful of drop downs. Like, make sure you hold your floors for a double harpoon play or like a harpoon breakout play, right? And then also cone it as well, and then just wait for it to be foiled. Yeah, as soon as he gets 50-50 zone, immediately starts cranking up. Not like a extremely expensive crank up, bro. Like, he's not really doing floors or anything. He just ramps up a little bit. And also the benefit here, because he's so set back, because he's in the center of zone, is rather than the edge, right? It avoids those situations where there's another team on edge height. Obviously, a team could play in and just take high ground on these edges, but it'd be quite easy for them to retake it, right? Because they're in the center of zone. You can sometimes play for zone on edge if you want to, but a lot of the time it is better to just be in the center of zone just like this, because you're a lot more widespread. It's a lot easier to maintain it. And then also being in middle of zone here, depending on the pull, they should have a really easy job of, there's nobody on this top left side, and now it's only that other team on opposite height. So majority of the times they're going to maintain height hold here. If you're on edge of storm, let me just explain this quick. If you're on edge of storm here and zone plays anywhere on this side of zone, right, you just can't hold height. It's pretty much impossible. But for AQUA's team, there's a very hard chance that they can hold height depending on where zone pulls. Yeah, immediately you're all pepper at the same time. Ramp over towards the other team. This other team looks like it's Flowers, right? It's a pretty decent team. So they need to make sure they play this correctly. And this is how you correctly play height, right? You need to have somebody playing kind of ultimate backend, which is what CR is doing. Oh wow, Frey gets a free knock there just because of the angle from ultimate. Very nice. Can they get this first? I don't think so, but they managed to, just because of that play, they managed to kind of grief height enough. Good stuff. So you see AQUA went over the top of them, CR is playing back end, and then Frey's kind of like looking for an angle from the middle between the other two players. Okay, let's watch AQUA top over. I hate these purple zones, bro, but all good. Again, playing minimum 2 layers of height, just spraying them. Probably should spray the second height team a little bit more. Actually, no, they already dropped. Yeah, they're all like straight below them. It's very hard to contest height if you're straight below the other team and they're staying on top of you and connecting to you the entire time. That's Vina, not Frey. Yeah, I doubt AQUA would play with Frey, to be honest. Considering how much they beef. Good connections. It's dropped hard mats as well. Again, really simple stuff. Just connecting to the second height team as frequently as possible, right? You can see he's connected 3 times just in this one zone. Cool. And this team, you don't really need to pressure them, right? Like, they're kind of getting messed up just because they are second height. There's a lot of teams near them. And they're a little bit shambles on mats, right? So these guys can just keep sitting on height and keep spraying. Connected front side as well. Again, though, this game, actually they do heal off. No man, I thought they didn't have heal off, but they actually set up Vino to have heal off really well. So he's got 3 medkits. He needs to make sure he times one of these medkits well, because I think this game probably not going to go to heal off. Yeah, especially these guys are quite shambles. There's a kid on low ground with Stinkfish ran off. This build's by AQUA. Make sure he doesn't commit into a pump fight. Worst thing you can do in these final zone positions, right? Literally the worst thing you can do is commit down too early and die too early, because then you give them Siphon, you give them 150 mats, right? Instead they all play up together and make sure they live as long as possible. That's a really nice kill as well. Secures it. CRR did go down, but they traded, right? It's an even trade, and these guys have heal off set up. Frey can still play heal off. He's got floppers. He's got meat. He's just going to hold this guy in storm. Good play. Doesn't even commit for the angle. He waits for AQUA to come around. And 207 points, first place.